Welcome to India Limited News. Our guests today are Congressman Ro Khanna from California and Latha Mangipudi. Latha, welcome to our show. Congressman Khanna, it's nice to see you again.
Great to see you.
Last time we were in our studio. We are meeting here today in Latha's house.
Well, it's always an honor to be in Latha's home. I think this is the third or fourth time.
Yes.
Sometimes I've had great dosas, great South Indian food.
That's exactly I told her, when I look at the kitchen, I said, where is the dosa? So she said, next time. Today seems to be. So now coming back to the election of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. What an excitement today it is all across the country.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's like 2008. The energy is electric. I don't know if folks got to see the rallies yesterday in Detroit. I mean, there were thousands of people waiting as Vice President Harris and Governor Walz came off the airplane. It's inspiring. It's joyful. It's hopeful. It's the future. And that's why we're going to win.
Excellent. Latha, your take on this
So
New Hampshire.
it has I can just tell you how excited people are. Grounds here. My phone has been ringing off the hook. And this event, 4 days ago, that we said, okay, we're going to do this. Okay. And people have responded. So the excitement is like there's hope. And like Congressman Khanna said, it reminds me of 2008 when Obama came to the final and, it was mobilizing, was so energized. And we have all respect for Joe Biden. President Biden has done an amazing job. Now we have a loud voice to emphasize all the good thing that's happened, how Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, and our Governor Tim Walz will carry and emphasize the progress we have made and take us forward.
Excellent. So now I have a couple of tough questions for you. So the one is you have so much momentum right now going on all across the country. So my question to you is, can this momentum continue for the next 3 months, number one? And number two, is there also chance which happens in the election, there is so much momentum, people might say, look, she's going to win anyway, I don't need to vote.
Well, the second isn't going to happen because the vice president herself says that she's the underdog, as Barack Obama said, until he won. I mean, when you're running as the first South Asian, African-American woman, you're going to be an underdog until election day. And people want to defeat Donald Trump. They're not going to take this election for granted. Everyone needs to come out and vote. And the second point is that, it's a sprint. If you had asked, can we carry on a momentum for a year and a half? It's harder, but can you carry on momentum for 90 days? Absolutely. But it's so important that momentum is not enough to win an election. Energy is not enough. Rallies are not enough. We need to make sure that people are registering to vote, that they are knocking on doors, signing up to, even if you can do 2 shifts a week, 3 shifts a week, that they're registering for phone banks, that they're on social media, persuading their friends to do 1 or 2 things everyone can do every week to help win this campaign.
So go ahead.
So I want to add to that. It's all hands on deck. That's always the thing with the democracy, right? Like I always say to the, election, if each one of us bring 10 people to the poll to vote, register them, make sure they're there. Each one of us, no sitting back, because this is not the time to sit back. There is absolutely no option other than put total emphasis on getting out the vote. And I think that's what this whole events are, to energize, mobilize.
Sure. And I think one thing many people had really missed with Mr. Walz was that he served for 12 years in the Congress. Did you spend some time with him?
I did. He was such a delight. I mean, one of the things you see with Walz is there's not a single person who doesn't like him in the Democratic caucus. You had everyone from Joe Manchin to AOC praise him. And the reason is he's one of the friendliest people. He was the chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee when I was a freshman member of Congress. And I remember I had a bill before his committee, and I very sheepishly went to his office for a meeting, and he said, "Oh, Ro, of course, I love this idea." He helped get it through. He was helpful to anyone he met. And that is something that his reputation is really going to be shown to the American people.
With him, he was here in April for a Democratic event. All the things that as New Hampshire state was trying to do, midday meal for the kids in school and women's right, voting, overturning Roe versus Wade, codifying abortion rights. All these things he has proved, he has done it in his state.
Sure.
And we are still fighting in our state to do it. So here is a chance. Here is a man who covers and amplifies, or he's an asset to VP Kamala Harris. And that together the ticket is a perfect ticket that we need right now.
Absolutely. Now, I know you have a very tight schedule, but I still have a couple of things to ask you. So one is, if Kamala Harris is elected president, what are 2 or 3 big policy changes you see? One is in the foreign policy and one in domestic policy.
She will push for a working and middle class agenda. What does that mean? Building more affordable housing, capping the price of rent, making sure that we're lowering costs by going after corporate price gouging that are raising food prices, that are raising rents in this country. She's going to push for universal child care. These are the things that are going to bring relief to ordinary Americans. And of course, in terms of foreign policy, we're going to continue to stand with Ukraine against Putin's aggression. If Donald Trump comes, you're basically ceding so much of Ukraine's sovereignty, because I fear he would make a deal with Putin at the expense of the Ukrainian people. And we're going to push for peace in the Middle East. The vice president has called for a permanent ceasefire and a release of the hostages to bring this war to an end with a just peace of 2 states, a secure Israel and a Palestinian state not governed by Hamas.
And your message to Indian Americans and South Asians?
Well, one, just an enormous amount of pride for the Indian American community that we have someone who is South Asian, a South Asian woman running to be president of the United States, who was has won the nomination. I mean, when I was growing up, I couldn't have conceived of that. And that is a testament not just to Kamala Harris, not just to the country, but to the strength and contributions of the Indian American community. So I think there should be incredible pride.
So now already we have 5 congressmen, right?
6 now, yeah.
6.
Because there's just someone elected, Suhas Subramanian from Virginia.
So 6, yeah, that's excellent. So, and what is the caucus called? Samosa caucus or
Yes.
something? Samosa?
Yeah, that's
So what I want to say about that is being the first Indian American to be elected at the state level. I'm a small potato.
That's not
No, Latha, you have done a wonderful
Latha's a
job.
trailblazer. She has a national reputation.
You from the
But-
grassroots, you have
But
come.
to say
Sure.
now we have an opportunity to stand up straight, strong, and come out. And not just we were, margin of victory. We have to show resounding support to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz for this ticket. Come out in full force. Every 30,000 registered voters, Asian voters in New Hampshire, I want them to come out and vote.
And nationwide.
Absolutely. And
This is the last question. So you have been in Congress for many, many years. When are you going to run for the governor of California?
Well, I'm focused. I've only been there 7 years. Tim Walz was there 12 years. So I'm loving my time in Congress, serving Silicon Valley. And my hope is that President Harris wins, Vice President Walz, and then I can work with her on universal child care, on building some of the industrial policy that I want in new jobs. And I would be very excited to be in Congress with a Harris-Walz ticket in the White House.
Thank you so much for your time. Latha,
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.